I got Shirley here. We're going to talk about some issues about 7 chairs. And Shirley, just remind the people of overcoming psoriasis what 7 chairs is all about.
Okay, great. So we have groups in the digital space. We have chat-based groups, support groups. We offer psoriasis patients to join us, pull up a chair, and have like a process, an emotional process with other members who suffer psoriasis, in order to share emotions, feelings, strengths, to find strength and resilience tools. People with a common ground feel like, sometimes they are alone, and in these groups, they don't feel alone anymore, and they share really, intimate and private issues with anonymity. People don't have to disclose their identity, so they can join us from all America and get support from professional facilitators.
Yeah, I think that's important. So you could pull up a chair, one of 7, and discuss issues that pertain to psoriasis and the daily life and challenges that with psoriasis. So I like that it's anonymous and that you don't have to give out your identity if you don't want to. And there's a lot to gain from this, and it's free for our Overcoming Psoriasis members. So what's the topic for today? What are our talking points today, Shirley?
So today we are going to talk about families and psoriasis. We're going to handle issues like children with psoriasis. We're going to touch this issue a little bit because it's a wide one. We're going to talk about parents with psoriasis, the comorbidity of having depression and psoriasis in the family, how it affects all members, and how we can make, better relationship and better communication, especially in this holiday season when we are all together and, more conflicts may arise. Yes, we're going to talk about all this, and I'm going to have a poll here. Anybody who would like to join us, please feel free to answer questions. So if you'd like to say a few words, and then I'll continue from there.
Yeah, so I think it's important, how ironic that during the holiday season, most of us can feel alone, even though we're around family and friends. So I think these are important talking points that we need to address. And, if, like Shirley says, if you have any questions, I can't see myself. I can't see any questions because of the use of the Be Live in the Facebook group for some reason, and I'm on my phone. So I'm not ignoring you. I want to say hi to all my friends out there. I love you all, especially around this holiday time. I wish you great holidays and hope you're enjoying your weekend. So Shirley, yeah, let's talk about what you just brought up about some family issues. I know personally, as far as family with my psoriasis, my immediate family was great, but explaining to my siblings and my parents, they kind of didn't get the whole idea about psoriasis.
So it's definitely sometimes difficult even to announce to the family that you suffer from psoriasis. People, as psoriasis patients tend to do, hide the disease, hide the condition. As we hide the condition and hide, the scars and, and the pain that they suffer, they tend to also hide their emotions from the family itself. So it definitely is one of the major secondary impact on the lives of family, okay? People have to know, the patients and the family as well, family members, that it definitely affects everyone. Even if your connection is not really strong, it still can affect, and we have to take it into consideration that it can, affect the quality of life and measures of well-being. So it definitely has we found research as being really indicative of some intense effect of psoriasis on the family. Can you relate to that, Todd?
Yes, I could give you an example of how I was feeling around the holiday times before biologics, when my psoriasis was exposed on my face, my forehead, and my neck. It was just a hard situation, and I didn't really want to be in public. However, my family invited us out to a restaurant, and we drove an hour out of our way to go to this restaurant. And honestly, I didn't even get out of the car. That's how, I didn't even want to go in and face the reality that I had psoriasis all over me. And I was really depressed. And so, it was a holiday celebration that I didn't want to attend because, the situation at hand. So, these are the things that we have to deal with. At the time, my ex-wife was saying to put makeup on and stuff. So I tried to hide it, but I knew that wasn't the real me, So I don't know, in certain situations like that, it's very difficult and challenging for the psoriasis patient. But any topic or hints that you can give us that might be able to help us deal better with that situation?
Yeah. So this is really revealing. I thank you for that. So I guess, through the years, it probably became even easier to you. But you talk about the time when you just been diagnosed. Was it the beginning?
It was the interim, basically, before biologics were available. I think it was before biologics became available that happened. But, even though biologics are available today, there were times when the biologics fail, and we have an interim of a flare. And then, so these are the things that most psoriasis patients fear. And I believe we're all related. It's common ground in our community.
Definitely. So, I'm sorry about that. For some reason, I cannot upload the poll from this application, but we would like to ask people, and you are more than welcome just to answer our question. We would like to know, how do you feel during the holiday season as an overcomer? Are you feeling stressed, relaxed, and joyful? Are you feeling lonely? Are you feeling stronger? You are more than welcome to share your feelings here, and we will try to see, how people do feel around this time of year. It's good that we talk about it right now, Todd, because this is actual. This is what is actually happening. And as you mentioned, and I mentioned before, this is a process. Of course, at the beginning, people are very ashamed, and they prefer not talking, and as I said, covering their body and areas that the psoriasis affects, then they prefer even hiding emotions, and instead of sharing, they get inwards, and what happens is probably that they get more lonely. And this is the most amazing thing. People don't want to get lonely in this time, not on holidays, and not when you suffer a condition that is with you all the time. And but people still get lonely. So this is a major issue, and we are here to deal with that and not be afraid to ask the questions. And of course, what affects this is the intensity and the impact of the psoriasis. Of course, you mentioned that you've been all over your body. You've been with psoriasis, then it was more difficult to you. Probably was easier when the condition was lighter, when it wasn't so severe. So when we talk about family members, we talk about parents who has psoriasis. They have to share with their children their condition, and they have to help them cope with it. So it's not only taking care of themselves, it's also taking care of the children. And also we're talking about families, then we are relating to adolescents and children who have psoriasis. It's amazing, how many adolescents have psoriasis, and they feel psoriasis, and they feel, really in the most, turbulence age, they feel really a lot of emotional stress. Some of the people even mention having like traumatic experiences because of the people around them, the students, their friends. So as a caregiver, you have to take care of all of that. And of course, we talk about caregiver role. Because, even if you are not the one who has psoriasis, it's your partner who has it, then you have to take care of him or her. You have to make sure also that you are not, exhausting yourself with helping the other. So we are going to talk about all of this. In our groups, we do provide support also for caregivers, and we tend to ask, something that is forgotten also about the caregivers. Who care about you? Because it's sometimes, a little bit exhausting to take care of someone who has a condition because of the emotional state, because of everything. And we have also to take this into consideration when you are a sufferer and when you are a family, a caregiver. Okay, so actually, we mentioned before in our Facebook lives that people feel guilt and shame and embarrassment or helplessness. They feel like they have low self-esteem and self-worth. And it leads also to isolation, meaning that sometimes, people with psoriasis, all they have is their family. That's why it's so important to keep the family together and get their help and support. It can affect sexual dysfunction. Of course, this also affects, spousal relationship due to self-consciousness and also painful lesions that cause, the psoriasis to genitals. It can also make, suicidal ideation. We know that there is a percent of people who also think of suicide when they suffer psoriasis, especially in the seasons. All emotions are really, flooded, and it increases this risk. And also it affects people vocationally. People cannot find work. They find it, maybe they find discrimination. So we have to understand that all that I mentioned can actually affect all the family. So let's talk a little bit about the holidays. You mentioned it before, Todd, that I wonder whether people felt that, during the holiday season, the feelings are flooded. Maybe, even if you lost somebody, then the holiday time is even more a reminder of this person's absence. When the family is together, people feel a bit rage, sometimes like they are teenagers again. It feels like there is a regression. People don't feel like adults anymore. They feel like teenagers, and they have to, fight about conflicts that are heated during this time. And sometimes, history of the family goes with the years. It doesn't disappear. People, are in their routines, but when they get together in the holidays, then this family history is, more apparent.
Yeah, I think all those factors for psoriasis, I mean, these are all the challenges that we face, and everything that you mentioned is something that we go through on a daily basis. So, yeah, I mean, some of the helpful things that I do when I'm faced with depression or I'm thinking a little inward, I go for a walk. I just maybe take a bath or do something for myself, a little exercise or something like that to stimulate those feelings, to get rid of those feelings, actually, to focus on the good things in life rather than I'd rather be appreciative towards the blessings that I have than dwell on the negative feelings that psoriasis can pose. So these are it's a choice. We have a choice. I know it's a difficult choice, but we have to get through. We have to survive. We have to overcome psoriasis. So these are some of the things that I do. I don't know if you want to mention some things that you guys do. We can focus on that too. But being a member of Seven Chairs, I think it's great to just talk about and vent of your feelings and maybe get some ideas and gain some perspective on how other people face their feelings, especially around the holiday time. And
Sorry, Todd, can you say it again? You're a bit disconnected sometimes. Can you say it again, please?
Yeah, I'm just saying, how to overcome psoriasis by thinking positively, rather than dwelling negative thoughts that psoriasis can cause. So, like for myself, if I take a walk around the block, even, which is, we have to exercise. So, exercise puts you in a better state of mind. So I think that's a good approach to dealing with the feelings of depression, especially around the holiday season.
Yeah, definitely, doing something that distract your mind is crucial. We use it in even in our groups, and we help people, change their thinking mode, and try to get, the positive from the situation. We suggest people during the holidays even, and we are going through, psychological emotional and turmoils because of the holidays, and because being together, maybe people feel angry and anxious, just being again together after so many, I don't know, months or years they haven't seen everyone, and you just can decide whether this, event is good for you or not. You can plan. You can do, you mentioned relaxation techniques, like anything that helps you relax, doing exercise. And even in the situation itself, if you feel like, you're burning and you feel it's too much for you, you can change atmosphere. Be aware of what is going on inside. People sometimes arrive to this situation not ready. And even, have a friend somewhere in the world, doesn't matter, that you can write or text to, and so you won't be alone if that's possible for you to be in those family meetings. So remember, it can be worse, and you can just, get empathy from someone you feel you can share your feelings. Definitely, this is an issue that is coming up in the groups. People do mention feeling really alone in this time of year. Even if they do go to family, for some reason they still feel alone. And can you imagine that? Can you understand this kind of feeling, Todd?
Yeah, I totally can relate. I mean, it's part of the process though of dealing with it. But these days I feel much better due to the fact that my psoriasis is controlled and my psoriatic arthritis is controlled. So I have a better outlook on life. Being that medications are available, that I can go to my doctor and get prescribed, and in fact, in a little as 3 weeks you could have clear skin, and your joints could be feeling better. It takes a little longer for the joints, but it's important to get professional help and attack this disease from every angle. Support groups, I believe, are one of those angles. You have to vent and talk about your feelings, but you also have to deal with it physically. Now, you mentioned something about financially, and jobs. I had a hard time at my job as well. My fellow employees didn't understand what was going on with me, and they thought I was contagious. So, it's up to us, basically, how do we deal with that issue? I mean, sometimes you can contact the National Psoriasis Foundation, and they can mail out information packets to your place of work, of employment. So this way, education to those people that are ignorant about our disease will help them understand that, we have a challenge, and we're doing the best we can to face these challenges. But we also have to make a living. So, it kind of like it's a double whammy. But all in all, that's life. We have to deal with it. And it's unfortunate that we have this disease, but we could also turn it into a positive and educate the people around us. So maybe it makes it easier for the new generations, or the newly diagnosed people, that they don't have to deal with this ignorance. So I think that's important, and we have a lot of work to do.
Yeah, actually, I think you are mentioning something which is kind of a message to the family members, because sometimes family members would be, either, too overwhelmed with the condition, or overwhelmed with the depression. and might be feel a bit helpless. And what we're trying to say is that you can help, people suffer from psoriasis. You can help your family member. You are not that helpless. You just have to be not too pushy and try to encourage for action and the activities. And, you have to work on your communication. Try to talk about things openly. And maybe psoriasis patients, I don't know, you can tell me, and I hear it in our groups, they find it hard to come and say, listen, I need help with that. Try to specify your needs, because maybe others don't really know what they need. They can only, they don't read your mind. Be specific and communicate how to deal with your depression, or how to deal with the fact that you cannot find work, or how to deal on a, even helping you finding new medicine, to cure your condition. So you have to get help, and also, be able to give help. So I would recommend people with family members of psoriasis also to get support, and in order to avoid burnout, because, it's not like something that is like seasonal, or something for, 3 months or a period of time, or 1 year of, like people suffer, for example, from cancer. It can be 1 year of fight, of, medicine, of chemotherapy. And after this year, it ends. Of course, many other issues come up, but the main, dealing is limited. But dealing with psoriasis for a long time is dealing with the remission and the repeated symptoms, and then it goes on and on. So in order not to have burnout for these family members, you can get help yourself. So
yeah, I think it's important. Shirley, I think it's important that we learn to love ourselves too. Accept our condition and move forward. Educate yourself the best you can through any, even Google search, through National Psoriasis Foundation, our support group, 7 Chairs, whatever it may be. You really have to, read and focus on, what can help us and get us moving forward, and really enjoying life, because there's a lot of life out there to enjoy. I mean, really. I mean, there's so. I don't know. I love my life right now, but basically, I've been trying some things. Himalayan salt. This is. I was just reading about this. So education is what I'm talking about with products like this that can help you. You can take a bath in Epsom salt, but Himalayan salt is one of the better salts. It's not a processed table salt, and this is just one of the other things that I do each and every day to better my life and to stay healthy. One thing about Himalayan salt that I was just reading is it lowers blood pressure. And believe it or not, table salt gets a bad rap, but we need salt. Our body needs to function with salt in it. So we're basically an electric magnetic field, or I don't know what you want to call it, but we conduct electricity, and salt actually helps that process. So anyway,
definitely psoriasis goes with sometimes comorbid with cardiovascular disease. Then you mentioned that your blood pressure may be improving your heart function. Then it's great. Definitely, it's great. Yeah. So you mentioned, before you mentioned our group, people sometimes find it a bit strange how come support group with text only. So I can tell you, Todd, that every time, each meeting we have, it's like a magic. Really, people are sharing really private issues. They feel like it's a safe environment, and because people don't really see each other, I don't know, for some reason it accelerate the process. And sometimes we need in group support a lot of sessions before we feel the group dynamics, we feel the empathy between the group members. And with us in 7 Chairs groups, it's amazing. People really support each other, especially in the season time. And they find a lot of, strength. People are waiting for these meetings. So definitely, any kind of professional help, people, it's okay to be there and to get this help. Whether it's also, we're talking about family, then some people are going to family, support. Just do whatever you need, as you mentioned, to feel better. And it's not only, in the private personal matter, it's also, talking family wise, improving everyone's condition. If it's children with psoriasis, if it's adolescents with psoriasis, then we can do things to improve their well-being and their quality of life, and change this road. And I have like really positive message to the parents, who have children with psoriasis, because in our group I do meet people who are now older, who are adults, and they suffered like being really ashamed when they got psoriasis as teenagers or children, going with low self-esteem. And I can tell you they are wonderful adults. They built such amazing resilience tools. They become even better than they ever been. They learned to look at the most important thing in life. So parents should be relaxed that their children will be fine. Just give them the help they need as parents, and talk to the family, keep communication open, and be optimistic. As you mentioned, Todd, I think it's a good example that life is good, and I'm really happy for you for that.
Yeah, and actually Israel, I mean, I didn't mention this, but we're broadcasting from Israel and New York, and there's a time difference, so I think it's around 5:30 your time, and it's about 11:30 here in New York.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, actually the Dead Sea in Israel, I found myself there twice, and I was there a month each time.
Wow.
It's an expensive ordeal. It's time away from the family, and time away from your job. And, not many people can afford that. However, I was able to go, and I experienced great results from the Dead Sea, and I would highly recommend it. I would go back in a heartbeat, just to experience that once again. It was just a great experience overall, and it actually did help my disease. I came back, I was totally clear. The symptoms returned after 4 months, but overall, I felt like, once again that I could function, and it was a great deal. I mean, I was totally tan. It was a lot of work to go there. It's not a vacation. You have to actually work to get the results that you want. I mean, you're baking in the sun for up to 6 hours a day. You don't start off with 6 hours. You work out, maybe half an hour, and you build yourself up. It's a process. So, but I loved it. I enjoyed it. But we're not talking about that. We're talking about 7 chairs, and we're talking about how 7 chairs can help you. I just want to thank Shirley and Gil for making this available, this opportunity for our members to discuss their issues and maybe learn some things that they haven't before from these groups. And I think it's a blessing, and I'm glad I was able to offer it to our members, and it's just a wonderful thing. Thank you so much, Shirley.
Yes, thank you, Todd. And of course, you are always more than welcome to come again to Israel. The Dead Sea is ready. Definitely, even psoriasis patients here in Israel visit this place a lot. Of course, it has like amazing results, and people do feel exactly. And I think what's important is that, and that's the way you live, Todd, and I think it's a role model, an example to people. Try to make things better now. I don't know what will, maybe in 4 months, the condition will come back and you'll have again, all these problems. But I think this method, of living in the here and now and not worrying about the future is so important, because you are, a living fact to that you are improving, and in general, the general result is good and you feel good. So people, as you mentioned, have to keep on fighting, get help, and believe in themselves and connect to the good thing in life. I can see it. People are, positive, and then they bring positivity to the group. They bring positivity to their life, and it's like it attracts the good, definitely. I do wish, good holidays for people, and I would like people to know that we have like a 15 seconds meeting with a professional if they feel lonely in this holiday season. And of course, anyone can join our groups. We'll be more than happy to have you there with us.
That's amazing. All right, so I think we covered a lot of base today, and I just wanted to, it is the holiday season. I wanted to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to all
Happy
our Overcoming Psoriasis members. And, a special thank you and a hug to Shirley.
Thank you.
And, yeah, and you should join. Everyone, take advantage of this. Join 7 Chairs. You can join unanimously. You don't have to give out your identity. It's free. And Shirley would love to have you. And yeah, and God bless you. God bless everyone on these holidays. And whatever you celebrate. And I love you all. Hugs from me to you.
Thank you. Bye, Todd. Thank you very much.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.